Okay, welcome back, guys. Whatever time of the day you are viewing/listening to the Asylum podcast. Again, I'm producing some top names for you guys, and then we have another top name in my industry this time, online coach, natty competitor. Someone, when I first started out, I looked up to very much, Steyn. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Still remember the first time we met, man. I was doing my first prep. Bodybuilding wasn't cool back then, as you know.
Yeah.
And it was at a barbecue I met you, yeah?
2009, yeah.
That's right. And I remember someone said, there's another bodybuilder here. I'm like, what? Like, because it was so rare back then, man. Like, I find this day and age, it's cool to see the sport grow, but it's kind of like so popular now that it should be on your gym membership, even though you never trained before. When you sign up, it's like, do you want to compete one day? You know, because everyone, before they even learn the fundamentals of training, diet, nutrition, all those concepts, they're just talking about, you know, I want to compete, I want to do this. It's like, man, you don't even know the basics yet of normal heavy compounds and how it all works.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure you get a lot of yourself. But yeah, I still remember that back in the day, man. I think I was doing the A and B that first year, and then we did the INBA. But you've done a numerous amount of shows, you've been very successful with it. Are your competing days still alive as a natty?
As a natty? Well, as a bodybuilder in general, I'm unsure about it. Like, whether it's natty or enhanced or not. It's kind of like last year I was going to compete, right? And then COVID happened, and the whole year I spent dieting, which was pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
So I feel like competing, you're right, it's like mainstream. Everybody wants to compete. Even, in my consultation form with clients, long-term goal to compete. Yeah. And I'm like, why? What is the purpose? Like, you know what I mean? I trained for 6 years before I competed.
Yeah, I think I was just obviously playing around with weights and stuff, but 2 or 3 years before I thought about it, you know?
Yeah, and I remember meeting you, and I remember at the barbecue, someone said that there was a bodybuilder competing soon. I was like, I thought I was the only one.
Because it was rare back then, man.
Yeah, man. And we were young. Like, I was 21. That's the thing, like,
even if you had a good physique, no one would ever say, oh, do you compete? You know, where now you get stopped at a shopping centre, someone your size, you'd walk in and they'd be like, oh, yeah, dude, you compete, or you look really good, you know, are you a bodybuilder, you know? Like, but it is cool in that way, but at the same time, people don't understand it. And the problem, what I'm getting at is that the mindset behind it and what's wrong with it is that people aren't dealing with their own insecurities first. Mm-hmm. They're competing to shy away from things. See, I always love the discipline of bodybuilding. I always love the training and the dieting and whatever. Someone approached me and told me to compete, and they said they're training me for free to compete. Right? I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And I just kept winning, and then off I went. I'm going well, and then, you know, whatever. But for me, I love the lifestyle as it is. I know we were talking just offset before, and, you know, you were getting ready for a show during COVID, or COVID came, so was I, and obviously cancelled our plans to compete and things like that. But at the end of the day, you just said, dude, it made me more strict because in COVID I couldn't do anything. So I just did the same routine. And that's exactly what I did. I had a garage full of equipment and just kept training and prepping because I had nothing else to do. You know, so my point is that I love the lifestyle. And I find the people I've run into over the years, especially you, that have loved the lifestyle, they've always gone very, very well in competing, but they've also moved that into their business world because they've used the disciplines from bodybuilding. What people don't understand with bodybuilders is they're very close to that mark, right? Where they could, if they took those disciplines of accountability, structure, and having a plan put in place, right, and being accountable to it. If they did that in the business or the relationships or anything like that, they'd be extremely successful. But unfortunately, they're searching for validation. That's why when they finish a show and they rebound and do all these things and they go, oh, when should I just do my next show? It's not about your next show. It's about learning those lessons from it and understanding this is a lifestyle. It's not so much a sport. You know, like I had Will Cross on here in the previous podcast, and, you know, we were talking about powerlifting as a skill. Strongman is a skill. Playing rugby league and all these things and swimming and sprinting and whatever, they're all skill-based, you know, but you learning a movement to train the gym isn't that hard. It's the lifestyle that you do outside of it.
Yeah.
And I believe with you, what I see with your clients, you're always getting tremendous results. You're always looking in very good shape as well, and you're not enhanced. I'll stick up for you on that one because I imagine people would still think you're not enhanced. But no, I can say you're not enhanced. I believe you're 100%. But that all comes down to your lifestyle and your choices. So when it comes to you promoting that to your clients and things like that, how do you go about things? How do you get people to follow what you're doing?
I would say that I probably take like an evidence-based approach. That's kind of been my goal in life, is to like in what we do is to learn as much as I can, implement it for myself, get good results for myself, and then obviously do that with my clients. And from a business perspective, I like to give more than I need to. So like, people in our industry will charge you so much money for a meal plan or for like a little bit of advice or, their secret protocol towards some outcome. Whereas I'll take an approach where I'll just say, here's all the information on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. It's something I've been doing for a long time. I refer to it as like educational marketing, where I'll just give what people pay for, I'll just give it to them. So it builds trust. Obviously, they start to like you, know you, trust you, and that will help with your business.
People, they see you as authentic then, don't they?
Exactly, yeah.
Because they have to, at the end of the day, if you want somebody, like for me, I don't do one-off plans. I just don't do it because...
Training or nutrition or both?
Both, because for me, I know I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
If you sat here, I know you've got plenty of knowledge, right? Although I'm enhanced. If you gave me something, I would still respect it enough to follow it. But I know I need to check in with you to be accountable to you because I respect you, you know what I mean? And I trust you and I trust your brand. So that's just how me as a person works. So I think to myself, I'm like, well, if I think this and people think I'm the most dedicated guy out there as a pro bodybuilder, guaranteed they're not going to fucking do it either, right? Now, some people don't need that kind of check-in work because I think my niche is a little bit different to your niche. Obviously, being on the enhanced side of things, I find these bodybuilders, these pansy bodybuilders, are a little bit more needy than what the people you have, and they understand those boundaries. But I'm okay with that because that's my niche and that's what I deal with, and I'm happy to help that out in that circumstance. But yeah, I mean, I find that kind of keeping in touch with people regularly and giving that authentic approach. I'm trying to educate consistently, and they have questions for me, and I just say, don't ask me that because I'm the coach and I'm right. I always want them to understand what's going on, because if you don't trust the process if you don't understand the process, you will never trust the process.
Yeah, and if you're not learning along the way, then, you're going to be on like using training wheels forever. So that's the whole point of online coaching, is education as well. It's not just accountability or structure, it's education in the process, so that client can go off and just do it by themselves, and have that long-term sustainable outcome.
That's the key there, is letting them be able to find things out for themselves. So many clients of mine, dude, have come to me over the years and they've said, I was with so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. And, I've had so many clients come from other coaches. Yeah, he doesn't talk to me anymore, or he's totally barred me off. Yeah. Or I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like, do you expect someone to be with you for 20 years? Like, I don't care if someone's with me for a week, a month, a year, or 10 years. I don't really care. But at the end of the day, I want them to be able to walk away and say, I learned this through Sam.
Exactly.
And so you should go to other coaches.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, if things are working for you, great. But, if you want to test some things out, or you like someone else, how they work, it's nothing personal.
No, exactly right. I have clients that it's never a short-term thing. It's always, for a while they get great results. They think they can do it by themselves and they leave. And occasionally they'll go to a different coach after that, experience a different, coaching experience. And like 80% of the time they come back to me afterwards.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because if you're giving out that free content, or you're taking, maybe not giving out free content, taking the time to explain things, whether it be in the way that you're doing your marketing or how you teach people in your consults or your Zoom calls and things like that, the brand is trust, right? Trust in the brand is my biggest part. Nike could fuck something up, but you'll still go back and buy Nike. Why? Because you trust the brand.
Yeah.
So they could bring out a new shoe, for example, that, falls apart in 2 weeks and you go, oh, that was shit. But if they brought out and they said, oh, this is stage 2, you'd probably still go buy it, not because you're an idiot, because Nike's proven themselves. But people are the first to rag on, say, a small business, that people don't know you too well. You might be known throughout the industry, but when you're not a big power player like, say, McDonald's or Nike or things like that, where you can't, fuck things up.
Yeah.
So I find that although we don't have a lot of room for error, I find that if you're keeping communication up with things and just being honest, like some clients have come to me and asked me things, dude, and I'm like, dude, I don't know. Don't sit there and try and pretend that you do know, because people can read through it anyway.
Yeah. And that's me for the enhanced side. I have no idea.
And that's, well, do you would still, though, because this means you got a big name in the industry, you still have enhanced people coming to you,
Yeah, for sure.
And how is that for them? Like, do they ever try and beat their chest and say, oh yeah, you know, because I do this, I know more in that area, or whatever it is? Like, how do you go with that?
Nah, everyone's been really good, actually. I think anyone that signs up with coaching, like for coaching with me, they trust me, they like me, they respect me, and they see me as, you know, there's value there that they want to learn from me. So then it's never an issue whether like they know more than me or anything like that. I don't know anything about the enhanced side, but I've done a consult with someone who's really smart, Broderick Chavez, one time.
Yeah.
Because I said to him, I was like, I don't know anything about this stuff. Just tell me how people should be doing their protocols, you know, what these things do, different compounds, etc. So I know. So then when a client comes to me and they're holding fluid or whatever, I kind of understand what's going on. So I have that base knowledge, that base understanding, but zero actual experience in it. But I tell my clients, I'm like, my job is training, nutrition, stress management, you know, behavior coaching, things like that. Anything outside of that, you just deal with that with someone else.
It's funny, anyone that I speak to that specialises in those things, like myself, they put on their Instagram bio that they're some sort of life coach. I don't see that with you at all, though.
No way.
Why is that?
I mean, how can you be a life coach at 33 years old? Man. Really?
But in general, though, like how do you coach someone for life? You know, it's like you know, even me being a parent now. How do you be a coach for a parent? You know, there's no kind of book for that. You can just have certain areas that you're obviously good at, which helps to your lifestyle. Yeah,
and also a life coach is way too broad. Like, how are you going to get clients? How do people know they need you in their life as a life coach? Like, what does a life coach actually provide?
Well, to me, like if I look at a life coach, it's like a success coach, but different people's view on success. Well, everyone has a different view on success. For me, is, you know, having a happy and healthy family and to be financially free, so I can have as much money as I want. I don't have to work, you know. So when I see people posting online and they're saying they're a life coach, I'm like, well, dude, you don't have 10 Ferraris and fucking 10 houses and a happy family.
Yeah, so they don't align with what you feel is success.
But then I try to look at them and see the other side. Okay, so where are you successful as to why I would come with you? Because I have people like you on here because I want to kind of sit here being the viewer asking those questions that you probably don't get asked, you know? And that's just some of the questions. I wouldn't get someone on here to just put them on the spot and put them on show, but that's when I look at their socials and I'm going, yeah, well, how are you, no offense, but how are you successful to the untrained eye?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me, man, with your online coaching, right? It's a big step. And again, you're successful at it. There's a lot of things behind it because you got a very nice tan on you. So probably people think you sit by the pool, have a fucking cocktail, train whenever you want to train, you know.
That laptop lifestyle.
Yeah, the laptop lifestyle, wherever you want to go. You sleep in different hotels and all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I'm not 100% online. I have a good mix, but I know firsthand how demanding online work is because when I leave the gym here, I have a thing where I don't do any online work. I'm done for the day. With you, it'd be hard to kind of switch that stuff off. So first things first, how did you leave being one of the best PTs at Empire, you know, had a successful business there? How do you just pack your shit up and just start online coaching? How do you do that for the person listening who's thinking, I want to get out of PT, I want to sip cocktails and have a nice tanning bed all day and have the chill out life? How do I do that?
And somehow make money.
Yeah, how do I do that? What do I do?
Well, it's a bit of a process, to be honest, and I started doing online coaching in 2012. Right, so it's quite a long time ago now, right? Yeah. It's a long time ago. And how I got into online coaching, I got into it before it was a thing. It wasn't a thing. Like Leigh Norton, we both know Leigh Norton. He was the only online coach that I knew, him and like maybe 3 other people.
Did he ever coach you?
No, he didn't coach me. But
coached me one year, actually.
Yeah, I know, remember you told me that.
Yeah.
He never coached me. I did inquire. Back then I thought it was expensive. I was like, whoa, that's crazy, you know, not even going to see this guy, whatever. But we became friends. Like I went to a lot of his seminars and stuff. We kind of went to the same places. We trained together. So it was cool. So I learned a lot from him. I would say he's a mentor of mine early on. So I got into online coaching because I had people from all around Australia just message me saying, hey, can you write me a diet? Can you write me a training program? And like you, I don't like to do one-offs. And I learned that really early on. If I like write a one-off nutrition plan, I'm just taking money from someone, they're not going to follow it.
Dude, you feel bad about it. Like, and that's what I mean. Like, even still, I have 8-week programs for people, but I have check-ins in that time where they might pay the upfront fee because they want to just pay for an 8-week program. But like people say, even you know, marketing people that I've dealt with, and they go, no, you just do that and then you send it off. I'm like, no, fuck no, I'm not doing that. There's no way I'm doing that because I need to make sure that they're keeping on top of things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you being one of the OGs, it's really cool to hear that, you know, in the industry. I didn't know you actually started back that far. So you would have still obviously been doing that while you were PTing, correct?
Yeah. So I was doing PT and online at the same time. And the only reason I did online is because I couldn't help these people face to face.
Yeah.
And they really wanted me to help them. So I was like, I'll see how I go. I'll try. I'll see what I can do. So there was a phase where I was doing one-off nutrition plans, one-off training programs, and people were getting okay results. But I was like, just check in with me after 8 weeks, just let me know how it's going or whatever. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it wasn't going that good. And I thought to myself, from a business perspective, how can I have recurring income from the same person as well, not just a one-time fee. So I started saying, like, here's your nutrition plan, check in with me in 4 weeks' time, let me know how it's going. We can see if we can make any changes or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I remember distinctly I had this lady, she lived really far away from here. And she was like, can you like just coach me via email or something? I was like, I guess I'll try. I charged her $25 a week, man. It was so cheap. It was so cheap. Yeah. So what I was doing was PT during the daytime.
Yeah.
And, my PT business was up to like 40 hours a week at one point. And I was trying to do online around that because online was a low income thing. It was just a small cost, right? Mm. And after a while, I realized the benefit in that. And I started to just kind of, I guess, share flexible dieting and stuff like that, which was like a buzzword back then, I guess, or it was a bit controversial, clean eating versus flexible dieting, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So as people started to come to me for that, it kind of grew my business even more from the online front. So I thought less face-to-face, a bit more online.
Let's talk on that, flexible dieting.
Yeah.
Because that's how I learned how to do it all. Because when I first saw Lane, he's like, fit these numbers in. I'm like, what the fuck's this? I just paid you all this money, you give me 3 numbers, right? Now, it was probably a bit overpriced for the service he gave me, but I don't look at it as a negative. I've got nothing bad to say because what he did was force me to understand how nutrition works, mm-hmm. right? And what I did, actually, it's funny, dude, I've still got the spreadsheet that I use from today, and over the years I've just added foods, like, because there was no MyFitnessPal back then, right?
Yeah.
And I just still use that out of habit because, and even still, I still go onto MyFitnessPal, grab it and put it in, find out the macros and put it in. I just have it saved in my computer. And dude, I've still got that from 10 years ago?
Yeah, crazy.
Right? But as I said, I didn't pay him. I didn't go ahead and pay him for his coaching in the day. I paid to learn that lesson. Mm-hmm. That's what people forget. Like, people think, I'll pay X amount of money per week for a 30-minute consult. It's like, no, the consult will go for 10 minutes. You're paying for my experience.
Exactly.
So, and that's how I looked at him. It was my first lesson. I didn't look at any hate with him. I'm like, no, he just put me on a new thing where now I actually can understand how to write my own diets. Mm-hmm. Now I'm doing this as a side gig while I was doing security, just to get in some coaching stuff. Because again, the same people were asking me and things like that. I didn't back myself enough, dude. I didn't come in and say I want to move online. But I guess in that time, back then it wasn't as sexy as what it is now.
Yeah.
So I went down the PT route.
Yeah. Everybody's an online coach now.
Well, yeah, everyone
straight up before even being a personal trainer, they're an online coach.
I know. So that's what I mean. So and how do you feel like that? Obviously, seeing you're one of the OGs that started online coaching before it was cool, just as you were as a bodybuilder. Mm-hmm. Seeing it develop now, does anything make you cringe?
Yeah, for sure, man. It's kind of frustrating, because I don't feel like I have that much of a competition because people like yourself, like people know you, people know me, they know that we've been doing it for a long time. So we have a higher level of respect, I guess. Mm. But there are a lot of people out there just throwing stuff out every day on social media, hoping to get new clients. And it's like everybody's an online coach. So when I started personal training, I actually, wanted to do it sooner and I didn't because I'm like, there's too many personal trainers out there. I'm not going to do well. I wasn't backing myself either.
Do you blame social media for this?
It's hard to say, man, because social media has helped me to grow my business too.
See, you know what I think with social media, right? Mm-hmm. Social media, when it first came out, and all the influencers and everything like that, you could polish a turd, right? Because you could have a drug addict who's a stripper and does whatever she does on the weekends and show her ass on Instagram. And she have 1 million followers and she's getting all these endorsements and things like that. Now, unfortunately, I think everything always comes back around in the wheel, yeah?
Yeah.
And social media cleaning itself up has been really good now because social media, in my opinion, it could be wrong now, but works off engagement than what it does followers. So if you want a sponsorship, if you want to endorse or something, or if you want to have a business like yourself, people that follow you are genuine followers, right? Where, you know, I've coached people over the years and tried to do like a bit of a endorsement deal with them, and I haven't got anything out of it because I'll be training a female and it's all guys following the female, you know, because she's hot.
Yeah.
So really I got nothing out of that.
Yeah.
And then what I heard that was actually happening with supplement companies, all these things, where supplement companies are sponsoring now people with 5,000 followers because they have very, very high engagement.
Exactly.
I got picked up from BSN for that reason. BSN years ago, I was on the BSN, and that's what I said. I said, oh, all these guys have like huge followers. Like, you know, why'd you come to me? And they go, oh, it wasn't because you're bodybuilding. It's just your engagement rates very, very high. So I think social media is making a very nice turn in that way.
Yeah.
Where you have to be authentic, dude. People can start to see through it because it is so saturated with all these flops that are out there, right? You have to really kind of step up and show your service and show your value. You know, you might be expensive, but nothing. I would like someone to say, "Oh, you're training with Sam Pierce. I bet he's expensive."
Yeah.
Not, I heard he's overpriced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think
I bet he gets great results.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet you're getting great results. Or I bet you're learning a lot or something like that.
That's
something
what
more
I mean.
positive.
And that reputation, you know, it to me is a compliment if someone was to assume that I was expensive because I get results or you have a team or whatever it is.
Well, it comes down to experience as well. Like,
and people will pay for value.
Yeah.
You know, so what you're demonstrating to me in front of the viewers and listeners and everything like that today is that, you know, you could see through yourself that you looking at your own business and always kind of rescaling and looking back and saying, how can I make it better? If you're focused on trying to how to make your business better and a better service for the person, you will 100% make more money out of it.
For sure.
As soon as I stopped worrying about how many clients I had to get in the week, and I started worrying about, all right, how much time can I save for myself to put more back into the business? So within a couple of years, I had a gym for myself, people working under me and all these things, you know, and it's funny, like it does sound corny, but when you are servicing the person instead of yourself for your financial income, I mean, how often do you see it, you know, PTs that you work with over the years and you know they're just about the money, dude?
Yeah, man. And they're not passionate. And if you're not passionate, you're not going to do it long term.
People aren't stupid, dude. And that's what I'm trying to say. People aren't stupid anymore.
Yeah.
So teaching back on the flexible dieting side of things over the years, because people, including myself, I went a bit off track with my flexible work. Like I do both. I give meal plans and I give numbers, right?
Yeah.
For the people that want to learn. Some people are lazy, whatever. But I sometimes would get confused on what was right and what was wrong. Now, technically, when I say that, you know, if you have a certain amount of carbs per day, right, you got to hit your certain amount of carbs per day. If you're drinking Fanta and Coca-Cola to make your carbs up, though, you probably wouldn't agree with that. So explain to me, did you ever kind of go down that path where you were essentially not eating the wrong foods, but going about food the wrong way?
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Because sometimes I find flexible dieting can only flexible dieting, if it's done incorrectly along that kind of path, it kind of promotes binge eating and other eating disorders because you're not actually looking at the key concepts of food, you know. So did that ever happen to you? Have you ever had to deal with it with clients? What's your go-to on it?
Yeah, it can also cause like obsession with food as well. You know, spending an hour tracking your food, figuring out what can fit in there and just like issues, lots of issues. But before I touch on that, pretty much with my service, I like to provide a nutritional service and training service where it covers everybody. So like the absolute beginner basic person has a meal plan to follow from me. So everyone gets a meal plan, but everyone also gets macros listed as well. And they also get educational videos as well. And they get their supplement protocol, they get everything. So, and with training as well, it'll list, you know, the RPE or the RIR and, you know, all this advanced stuff, periodization, stuff like that. People don't really care about or know about yet. But it's there for the advanced. So advanced people will look at my stuff and be like, this guy knows his shit. And then the beginners will be like, this is easy to follow. But then they can progressively learn stuff along the way. So that's a really important thing for me with my coaching, which is why I would never just be like, here's 3 numbers, here's your macros, just, you know, figure it out. It's like,
oh, dude, I see
it. Have quality food. I know, it happens so much.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
And the sad thing is, to be honest, some of these people doing that are making lots of money because the time it takes to give someone that, you know, service is not very long, and they can do 200 clients a week or something like that.
Yeah, but at the same time, dude, I've seen people rag on other coaches. I've seen people hate on other coaches. Pretty much the people that are ragging on other coaches anyway are shitter people themselves, right? A few names come to mind when I say that. But to me, I can see through things. Like I can see if someone's authentic or not, right? So one, if you get fucked over by a coach because for whatever reason, or you say, oh, they didn't give me enough time, or, you know, whatever, you're the one that chose to go to that coach. Own it.
Yeah.
You know, that's their method. They're making plenty of money from it. They've got a good business model for themselves. Morally, it may not be great, but, you know, if they're making money out of it, fucking best to them. You know what I mean? I'm not saying what they're doing is correct, but me, whenever I've been fucked over, I cop it. Dude, one day I was working in a supplement shop, right? This dude comes in, he goes, oh, I just found this wallet on the ground. You know, it's this name on it. Have you seen it anywhere? Blah, blah, blah. It's got about $200 in it, blah, blah. And he's talking to me like that, and I'm like, fuck, this guy's a good guy, hey, you know? And he's like, yeah, I might just go over to the RSL across the road and see if I can find anyone that knows this guy. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then he kind of goes to walk in, he comes back and he keeps talking to me, blah, blah, blah. And then we're talking about, you know, horse racing and just heaps of shit. And he goes, look, I've got this really good tip for this horse race, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm going to go down the tab and put the money on. And because we chatted for like probably 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a good guy. So he goes, yeah, I'll take the money from you. I'll go put it on the tab for you. I'm like, yeah, dude, here's $30.
Yeah.
Dude, when I was like 18, that's a lot of money for someone that's 18, right? As soon as he walked out of the shop, I could have stopped him. As soon as he walked out, I'm like, that motherfucker just scammed me. But I wanted that to be a $30 lesson rather than someone stealing $30 from me.
Yeah.
You know, so I've made bad decisions with coaches. I've made bad decisions in things with life, the gym, whatever it is, and they cost you a lot of money. But to me, that's how much you pay for the lesson. Like people come to pay to learn from you. Well, unfortunately, you have to pay for your lessons as well.
Yeah, I like that perspective. It's a good perspective.
You know, so... I mean, we see these coaches and how they roll. I know it kind of grinds your gears, but when you see people opt to go down that path, you kind of just have to let them do their thing and figure out themselves, yeah?
Yeah.
Because you're definitely not someone I've never heard you talk shit about anyone.
Nah.
You know, I understand there'd be people you don't like, but I would have no clue who you do and don't like.
Well, you get nothing out of it. You know what I mean? There are some people in our industry who they built their business or their following on, you know, talking shit about people, basically. And that's their way of, you know, becoming influential or whatever, but it doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? Like you want to respect everybody. Everyone has their own way of doing things, and as long as you're doing the right thing for your clients, like client retention is important to me. Doing the right thing by people is important to me. Having integrity is important to me. And if you can maintain that, you're always going to be successful.
But someone like you never have to feel the need to explain yourself as well.
Yeah.
I find any kind of true alpha that I have dealings with in the industry, they never get, like if they have something said about themselves, you could easily reply back on there, but you don't.
Oh man, the amount of like
and you probably go to write back and you type it up and you go, I'll send it in the morning. Then you wake up in the morning, you go, fuck that cunt.
Don't need to.
I shouldn't say that. Fuck him. I'm not gonna go and you know, I'm not gonna come up and give them the time to show that you're offended, because that to me that's a win for them. Do you know what I mean?
You just have to go on YouTube and just type my name in. I've got videos from 11 years ago or something lifting heavy dumbbells, and people are like fake weights. They're, you know, whatever, aluminium plates or something like that.
But see, when I was natty, right? When I was natty, I used to get so fucking wound up, dude, when people say, oh, you're on the gear.
Yeah.
You know, I know you're on the gear. And I'm like, motherfucker, when I get on the gear one day, then you're going to find out.
I still say that.
You know?
I'm like, when one day when I do that, because I'm not against it anymore. Before I was like morally against it.
Yeah, but you know why you were so morally against it as well? Why I was? Because so many people kept saying that I was on it. I'm like, fuck you, I'm never going to take it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it just got to the stage where I'm like, well, you know, fuck it. You know, I want to be a pro bodybuilder one day anyway. I have to take it.
There's things you have to do, yeah.
Then I'm like, you know what's going to be so good? When I start taking it, everyone's going to know that all that time I was natural. No one ever brought that up again. You know what they said straight away? I bet he runs a fuckload of gear. He's going to fucking die at 25. Like, lasted through 25. He's going to die at 30.
Yeah.
Oh, had a kid at 30. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? People, they never seem to look at the positive side of things. And when I say that as well, it's like, you said to me just before about coaches ragging on other people, so trying to make their building taller than everyone else's by knocking down other buildings, right? Mm-hmm. I actually forgot where I was going with that. What did I say? I said a really good thought there. Just lost.
You lost it.
But yeah, anyway, so when you have coaches, right, that are, hey Lee, what did I say on that last part before?
I'm watching the vision
Yeah, I'm just trying to think.
I'm terrible to throw back to because I'm paying attention to the
Yeah, no, you're right. Okay.
You're talking about the fact that you were getting offended when you weren't on the gear.
Yeah, you've kind of proven people wrong.
Now,
Yeah. Anyway, I'll just find something off that. Yeah. So when I started taking gear, no one ever came back to me and said to me, "Oh yeah, I can't believe you were natty all that time," And I used to get so wound up by it, dude, because I'd be thinking to myself, no, like I'm natural, and I deserve to win these shows because I'm working so hard. I'm a natural athlete, and I'm pushing so hard. And these guys are cheating. Blah 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 blah. When it took me about a year, it's probably my last year. Actually, I was in the INBA, and I said to myself, I'm like, hold up, these people are talking shit because they will never be able to make it to that level naturally, and they know they never can. So subconsciously, they have to say, there's no fucking way Denver Steyn can lift those weights naturally because I never could.
Yeah.
It would make more sense to me if he was on gear.
Yeah.
Now, they don't make those steps up in their head. It's just a subconscious thought. Is that something that's approached to you that you've had to kind of realise, or do you still grind? Does people still get under your skin here and there? What happens?
It used to really piss me off years ago. I remember going to the gym that I worked at the first time I ever went. The very first day I ever went, somebody offered me gear. And I was like, what? And I was so naive years ago when I started lifting weights when I was 16. I thought running common was natural. I didn't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you get to learn these things, I guess, over time. But yeah, it pissed me off a lot because it takes away your hard work. You know what I mean? I literally had someone say to me just the other week, are you on steroids, right? As one question. The very same person said to me in the same day, are you a drug dealer? Because I have a nice car. And it's like, what the hell? I've got a nice physique or a built physique, so I'm on steroids. I've got a nice car, so I'm a drug dealer. The two things that I don't do, right? And it's why would you stereotype someone like that? So that pisses me off a lot. Well, it used to a lot actually years ago about the steroid thing. So many times I've had to, stand up for myself, I guess, and convince people that I'm not taking anything, and I never have. And then I hear about, people saying, Denver does it. I know his supplier. Bro, quick story. I had this guy come up to me one time and he's like, we should train together. And I could tell he was gassed. But he was a cool guy. So I was like, yeah, I'll train with you. Started training together. He's like, we should go to lunch together. I just wanted to be my mate. I was like, oh, whatever, we'll do that. Hang out with him. Turns out he was, and we were meeting his friends as well for lunch and shit.
He was interested in you or what?
No, well, he was from a monetary value perspective. So he was telling his mates that I was using his gear.
No way.
And I'm meeting his mates and training with his mates, and I'm an example. I'm the product of, his gear.
But so, dude, your head must have exploded from that. That's a great ego boost.
I guess so. I was offended, bro. To be honest, I was offended because I'm like, I'm a natural athlete.
But now you look back, you go, that's actually the best compliment you could fucking have, man.
He's smart because it worked, obviously, for him. It worked for a while. So someone said to me at the gym one time, this guy knows you're a supplier, blah, blah, blah. It's this guy. It's like, I know the guy from the gym. I trained him a few times. We trained together. He's not my supplier. But yeah, then I figured it out. He was just using me as an example to sell his product to people. And he's like, Denver's big, Denver's strong. He uses what I sell. It was like growth hormone or something like that. And I couldn't believe it. So
how do you deal with, because as I said, being a natty, so you get, again, I haven't ever heard this shit, but I'd assume with lifting those weights that you did, fake natty, he's full of shit, this and this. And dude, people feed from your energy as a coach, whether you work with people online, in person, whatever. How do you conduct your positive energy? Because I've never seen you on a bad day. So, how do you always keep that out? Because as you know, as someone in your position, you can never have a bad day because people want a reason to hate you. Mm-hmm. They do. Whether people admit it or not, they want a reason to hate you because you're successful. You're natty and you're bigger than most guys that are enhanced. You're definitely stronger than guys who are enhanced because you're stronger than me, right?
Not in everything.
So, but at the end of the day, look, that's how it is, So how do you conduct the Superman look? When do you have good and bad days? How do you deal with it?
I definitely have good and bad days for sure. But I think that when you run a business for yourself, for me personally, I've been working for myself for over 10 years now, and my livelihood is the most important thing to me. Like you as well, financial security or financial freedom is important, and we love what we do. I don't want anyone to ever take that away from me. I want to keep doing what I do for as long as I can. And also I do other business things as well, but you know, just I love doing what I do, and I always tell everyone like I never want to fuck my business up. I never want to, you know, do the wrong thing where I lose clients because I made a bad decision or something like that. But I think as a personal trainer, your job is to be a positive influence on people. Like if someone comes to the gym and they don't leave your session feeling better about themselves, you haven't really done much for them in that day, right? So even though we're not psychologists or whatever, that's kind of something I learned early on as a PT. I used to be so focused on just like education, and I was kind of a boring coach or boring PT. And I was like, I actually need to focus on other areas of people's lives and make sure that they come in here, de-stress, work hard, leave feeling better.
Because that's the thing, I'm a bit of a hard ass as a coach. You know, some people word things differently. I can be known to be a bit upfront with things. Because I just like to say it how it is. I want to, you know, apologise for essentially being honest. That's one thing I had to learn too, dude, because people can see you as an arsehole, you know, and I'm not being an arsehole. It's within my best interest, but you can't blast someone because they might just break up with their missus yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, and you're in there saying, what do you mean you didn't fucking train yesterday? What do you mean you didn't fucking eat last, you know, you didn't eat all your food last night? You know, we got fucking work to do, blah, blah, blah. And you're in there grilling them, but you haven't even asked them why it's happened.
Yeah.
You just think they're being lazy.
Yeah. You
know, and it's funny because you go to assumptions. That's me being a hypocrite because I always get upset when I get told from behind World Gym reception, oh, so-and-so came out and said something today. Oh, what? Oh, you didn't say hi to him today. I'm like, the fuck do you mean I didn't say hi to him? Say hi to him every single day.
Yeah.
They don't care about that. It's the moment that you slip up.
Yeah.
Right? They go, always knew he was a roided up, fuckwit, arrogant, rude prick. Right? Because that one day he didn't say hi to me.
Yeah.
When, who knows, you know, you could have been going through a breakup, lost your job, family member died, whatever it is, no one cares to ask those things. So you have to be a little bit empathetic in ways. You know, and what I had to kind of come back and see things as a whole is, you know, people do go through things, and people as well, even though they want to come to me as an advanced coach, people would know you have that as well with you. You know, you've done a lot of shows, you've coached a lot of people through shows, lifestyle changes and things like that. People do have a certain amount of ability. We're all born with a certain amount of ability in what we can and can't do. And, you know, there's people that I train there's dudes that are bigger and stronger than me. There's bikini girls that are, I'm sure, way better looking than what I am. But then there's also guys that have just started out, and although they might have the intention to look like someone like you, you know it's going to be a long process, and they've got a lot of mental things they've got to deal with first. And you know yourself, dude, in this game, it is all mental, you know, and when you're off, you're not going to lift those 65s like you were saying before, you know, how you did in those videos. If you're off, dude, you're off. How do you promote that with your clients? How do you teach them that?
Yeah, it takes some time, hey, because when people start with coaching, they just want to go all out, balls to the wall, like do everything. Like I have this one client.
I won't let you down, bro. I'll do everything.
Literally. And it's so funny when people say to me, you know, okay, I'll trust you, like whatever you say, I'll do. I'm like, hang on, I'm trusting you as well. This is a teamwork right here. Like it's not me that you need to trust. I need to trust that you're going to do what I say. And commit to it when it's hard as well. But I have one client in particular. He's only probably like 2 or 3 months in right now. Every week he's like, what else can I do to get better results? What else should I do? Is there anything else I should do? I'm like, bro, if there was, I would tell you. Like you'd be doing it. You know what I mean? I'm not holding anything back. There's no need to be doing that. But he's just not ready for more. He's new to the gym. You know, he was doing full body workouts. Then we progressed to upper lower splits, and it's like a slow progression for a beginner. He's getting amazing results. You know what I mean? So I have to teach people that it's a long game, right? And you got to start as a beginner, start where you are, learn the fundamentals, and then grow from there. But yeah, even like with my coaching, a lot of the time it's telling people, it's stopping them from sabotaging themselves because they want to do too much too soon. I had a guy lose 26 kilos in 10 weeks one time for a 10-week challenge.
Wow, that's insane, man.
Yeah, it was insane. And he was going to the gym twice a day, not eating much food, obviously, just killing himself. And I was like, this is not sustainable by any means. I know you want to
dance full pelt for too long,
Yeah, I'm like, I know you want to win this 10-week challenge, which he didn't. He was very close. He came second. But anyway, I'm like, this is not sustainable, so you will regain some weight. Because can you see yourself doing this forever? No, there's no way. So people have to take a smarter approach.
How do you pick out your 10-week challenge winners?
So that was
anyone come back and say, "Oh, that's politics."
That was through the gym, so it was like I think it was like based on body fat percentage or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't do challenges, but I do have a 10-week challenge program, right? An online based program, which is super successful. I've had probably for like, I would say probably had it for like 7 years now. And it's kind of like you start it whenever you want to start it. It's a 10-week program. There's 5 different training programs to choose from. I tell you which one I think you're ready for, like which one would suit you best based on your consult form. And I give you personalized macronutrient targets and nutritional education. So that's like a low-end option for my online coaching space.
Yep.
Super, super affordable for anyone, but it gives them structure and clarity straight away.
So someone listening, obviously in the PT world, because I offer one service as a PT, right? Online coaching for myself, I have different services that I offer. I don't like to have too many because then people get too overwhelmed. They don't know where to choose and etc. How do you structure those things as far as your challenges versus your how often you see them? You might see them on a monthly basis. You might see them on a weekly basis, fortnightly basis. Like what are your options for people? How many options essentially do you have? And what's good and bad about having too many or too less options?
Yeah. So I got my 10-week challenge program. So obviously it's just 10 weeks. Nothing is personalized besides the calorie intake for that person and also the amount of like cardio I recommend and the program that I choose for them. But the programs are set already, right? So that's like a low-end option. And that's a fortnightly check-in. So low time for me. It's already been made. I make it once, sell it forever, which is good. But they're still getting some support. So I'm still hearing from them on a fortnightly basis, adjusting things for them with their nutrition, giving them advice and all that kind of stuff. But then I do nutrition-only coaching or training and nutrition together. Some people get training-only coaching, but I don't really love that. Like, I feel like just it doesn't
nutrition plays a big part, eh?
Yeah, nutrition's huge.
It's like, well, I still PT.
Yeah.
I still, about 20% of my clients I PT, but I only PT clients I coach. So I'll get them to send me videos frequently and I'll break them down and pull them apart with their lifts. And if they just keep sucking at something, dude, I'm like, all right, I'll stand and I'll do the PT,
Yeah.
What people don't realise, when they ask for PT work, they go, oh, I'll pay you whatever. It's like, dude, you could pay me $150 for a PT session. That's still less than what I get consulting. And to me, consulting, like, it's better for me, which I'm in the process of doing now, putting PTs under me to do that kind of work. And I can actually coach them to become coaches themselves.
Yeah.
Because in reality, dude, it just costs too much time. Like, yourself, like time management is the biggest thing. People think you just do a plan, it takes 10 minutes. Like, no, man, if you're doing everything customized, that's why I made the joke at the start. You sit by the pool and you live in the laptop and, stay in different hotels and go where the fuck you want to go. It doesn't work that way, man. No, how do you clock off? When I said to you before, when I leave here, I leave here.
Yeah.
But when Denver goes home, you still work. You just go here and train after, yeah? Then you go home, you go back to work. How do you separate yourself, man? Like, how do you have a personal life, you have things that you do. I know you're not a big partier and things like that, but, you'd have your mates you want to see, your family. I know you spoke on your girlfriend before and things like that. How do you clock off? How do you balance those things?
Yeah, you got to set boundaries, man. That's something you learn over time for sure. So, I have rules, I guess, so that I try to stick to, but I don't always. So if I'm single, it's kind of like, I'll just work whenever I feel like it, and I'll just see friends whenever, and I'll go to the gym whenever, and I'll just not really have that much structure. If I'm getting ready for a competition, bodybuilding comp, that becomes my priority. So I'll do my training first thing in the morning, everything's sorted, then I'll work after that. So that's the flexibility that we've got as online coaches, which is really cool. But if I am in a relationship, then I have more rules, like I won't work after 6 p.m. One rule that I've always had is don't work weekends. So I just do not work weekends.
Yeah, good.
The reason why I do that is because I love my job and I want to always love it. And if you do something every single day, it becomes like you don't get a break. You kind of lose the love for it, right?
I turned 30 this year.
Yeah.
Right. My birthday was on the Saturday. And, I just had this fucking, I wouldn't call it anxiety. I just kind of sat there and I'm like, I'm not going to the gym today. I'm not working today either. I'm just going to spend the day with Naya.
Yeah.
Because usually on Saturday, I would always spend about a half day. I would always have a half day, then do some replies and stuff. But she's an easy kid. Like either Paula will take her, or she'll just sleep on the couch or watch Frozen on the iPad and things like that. But dude, I was looking at things and I'm like, I used to put her in the Creation World Gym and then Paula will go get her. But I was starting to look at things. I'm like, nah, I only get her. I'm lucky enough to have her every Friday afternoon, and I drop her back late Monday morning. So I get a good chunk of time with her. But when I had my 30th, I didn't do anything for my 30th. I just kind of woke up that day and I'm like, fuck, I'm 30 now. And I just thought of things a lot differently. And that was the first thing, dude. And I was sitting by the pool, just watching her play around the pool. And I was just looking at her, I'm like, fuck working weekends, man.
Yeah.
What's this shit of working weekends? Like, you know, and ever since I did that, man, my business probably went up by 25, 30%. Why? Because I was far more productive through the week.
Yeah.
I'm actually lucky in the way that, you know, Paula takes her through the week. So when I do 14, 16-hour days, if I have to do it, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I know Naya's not at home waiting and I'm like, oh, I've got to get home and see her. You know, so as you said, when you're single, you can do those things. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think not working weekends or just understanding the time that you place for your job, because you always think working more is going to essentially get you more money. But what happens is, bro, is that when you are just working all the time, you do a bit of work on the weekend, a little bit of work on Sunday, a little bit of work on Monday, you're actually playing catch up a whole lot more than what you are ahead. You know, like most of my days now, when at that stage, when I was getting to work every day, it's always a few plans behind, or always this behind, that behind, whatever. Now it just feels so good. Like when you sit there and go, okay, what do I do now? You see your list, everything's crossed off, and you're like, oh, well, fuck, what do I do now?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you deserve it. And then, like, obviously, come Monday, you look forward to work.
How do you manage your stress?
I do meditation. I have some like non-negotiables, like not working weekends, obviously. Try to prioritize sleep as much as I can. So like years ago, I was very much like work is number one. I have to work. I got to, you know, make sure my clients are happy always. And then I was like, hang on, I need to, you know, fill my cup as well and focus on my own health, because if I'm not energized or feeling good, I can't give a good service.
Correct.
So my quality of service goes down. I get a bad name or whatever like that, right? I care a lot about, I guess, integrity as well, and ensuring that what I do is the best I can. So, you know, there are times where I'm just like, actually almost every day I'll go to bed and there's still work that I could have done. But I'm like, you know what? I'm clocking off today. I'll do that tomorrow.
That's the biggest one I tell people, man. It's just understanding that you can do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Get it fucking done tomorrow. But yeah, it can be done tomorrow, man.
Exactly. But that's not training or nutrition. That's like work, right? When it comes to training, get that shit done. To not wait till tomorrow. No double sessions and stuff like that. But yeah, so I'll go to bed every day and I'm like, okay, well, these clients will hear from me tomorrow. So I try to have good communication, right? Good response times within 24 hours, I think is more than enough for most people. Mm-hmm. I try to minimize social media communication with clients, because I feel like it's just wasting time. You know what I mean? It's not productive conversations on texting. A lot
of online coaches come to me, dude, and they say that. They go, oh, man, you know, I'm busy, but I'm just so unproductive. And I'm like, well, I turn all notifications off my social media.
Me too.
So when I go to look, there's no badges or anything. So I actually have to go in there and look. And that's a mental thing for me, that when I go to press that button, I'm like, no, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like, if you're going to stay true to it, get off all your fucking socials by not having any notifications on or anything like that. And that way, when you go on to post something or whatever it is, I'm using it now more so for business. And you kind of you realize very quickly through that, it's so easy to scroll. But when you have those things all turned off and stuff, then you start scrolling, you go, hold up, what am I doing? I don't need to be scrolling through this shit. Mm-hmm. And then obviously I exit out of it. I've also got a timer on my social media as well, 30 minutes a day.
That's good. I did that at one point too. It's important as a coach, for online coaches out there, to have these boundaries, right? You got to decide what you're willing to put up with, how accessible you're going to be. You're not 24-hour service. Like some online coaches are like 24-hour support, blah, 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 blah. They offer the world for like a low cost as well. I'm like, that's not true. You're never going to do that. You know, you can't bullshit. You can't do that. You know?
And you're only going to lead to disappointment. And the other day, as soon as you disappoint someone, it's like when you get a bad meal at a restaurant. Mm-hmm. If you disappoint someone as a coach, right, when you get a bad meal at a restaurant, you will go on social media and tell everyone how bad it was, and say, don't go to this restaurant. So when you have a bad experience with a coach, you'll tell a lot of people, and they'll tell their friends as well, don't go to Denver, he's an arsehole. But you could do a great job with someone, they might tell one or two people when they're finished with you.
Exactly.
You know, so people do attract to more negative news than what they do positive. So that's why your service always has to be at the top. And people don't realize these top online coaches, for the most part, they're on their game all the fucking time, right? And that is why they're making the money that they're making.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. So like when I sign up a new client, I'll give them a document that will run through like training, nutrition, stress managed sleep, all this, like all the different aspects that they need to know as a foundation knowledge, I guess, and links to different things. But at the bottom, it's like communication expectations. And it's like, do not communicate with me on social media. If you do, we're just having a general social chat if you want to. But all business is through email or by check-in form, stuff like that. So they know that straight away.
I like that. That's good. Yeah, smart.
That. Yeah, because you can't be on WhatsApp or whatever constantly. Unless someone's doing a show on that day, then it's different. But yeah, you can't do that. I learned that from another coach actually from overseas, and he was like, people will just think of something to like ask you randomly in the day, and it's a small thing. Quick question, bro, blah, blah, blah. Then you got like 50 quick questions, and that's taking up a few hours of your day. Yep. And then you have to expect a response from that as well after you've, so it's just a nightmare, bro. So I'm like, I know some online coaches who are doing well financially and they're getting people results short term, but I don't think they've got the client retention. Like they don't hold on to their clients because their way of checking
big turnovers,
yeah, is because they'll just be like sending audio message, done. That's your check-in for the week. Like, you know, they'll read everything and just send them an audio message. Cool, next person. It doesn't really provide enough value, you know, enough support, I think. And you can't follow back up on that and like have to listen to these audio messages. It's just frustrating for the client as well. So having a good system as an online coach is super important, and then having those boundaries where you
and stick to it. Yeah,
you stick to it. You have to stick to it. So I'll ignore DMs. It doesn't mean anything to me because when the check-in day comes, that's the information that I care about. And my check-in forms, like I'm constantly refining my business. Even last week, I added some new questions to my check-in form. So in the last, I don't know, 8 years or something, it's just getting better and better and better. Yeah. Covers so many.
But again,
aspects.
Just coming back to how can you make your service better for the person?
Exactly. And you know, I coach a lot of coaches myself, right? And even when I was a personal trainer, I was PTing PTs, which is so. It was that was my niche. Is like I train coaches, and that's all I had for a period of time. But they copy your systems, right? And they start to like kind of just take on your approach, I guess. So I've got online coaches that I coach, and they're very successful, and they're doing awesome. And I'm proud of them because I'm like, you actually have a good system because you have a good mentor. So my experience kind of goes on to them. Then I know that their client's going to get a good service, and it kind of pays forward.
Well, yes, at the end of the day, you're still there to educate so they can take it off themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
As we finish, the final question. When is Denver Steyn going to move to the dark side? Everyone wants to know, right? Because he's a fake natty, and he's one of the strongest guys in the gym. So when is this realistically going to? Because you've been dangling the carrot in front of me for a while, right? Yeah. For a long time, actually. I think everyone. But if you had to give an exact timeline of what needs to be done for you first, because I think everyone would love to see what you could do and how far you could push your physique as a bodybuilder, because you have amazing structure and you're strong as fuck. So it'd be very interesting to see what we could do with it. What's the first thing that comes to your head when I say that?
The first thing that comes to my head is I look at it from two perspectives. I guess from a health perspective, like general health perspective, I'll go to the dark side when I feel like I need to improve my testosterone levels, or like, you know, my general health is just degrading as we get older. The test levels go down. If I did a blood test and my levels were lower than what they should be, then I'd probably be like, hey, I want to get optimized. So basically, that's the health perspective. From a bodybuilding perspective, the reason why I haven't done it all this time is because I haven't needed to, and I still feel like I haven't been the best natural bodybuilder in the world, you know, in Australia, sorry. So I haven't won an overall title as an Australian, Mr. Australia. You know, I've never had that opportunity to do that. Back when we competed, it was, you do one division, you know. Now people do like 3 or 4 different divisions, and it's so easy to work your way up. Pro cards are just given out now. So I did used to say to myself, like, I need to win Mr. Australia naturally, and then be like, okay, now I've graduated to a point where I can be like, okay, now I'm on another level. So that would have to happen. I also have to have an interest in competing again, right? Because competing will take, competing, like you said earlier, like people want to compete. They always want to compete. And then when they're done competing, they're like, what do I do next? I don't know what to do next. And they just think competing is the end goal. For me, I don't want to identify as a bodybuilder only. I want to be...
Well, that's exactly that, dude. Like when you put it like that, right? That's because someone in your position knows how much to put into a prep. They're happy to just do a prep to get up on stage.
Yeah, true.
Dude, I don't want to get up on stage and stand at the back and say, oh, yeah, I love the experience. It's fucking horrible, man.
No way. My
first Arnold's, I think there was like 8 Olympians in my first ever Arnold's. I got 12th out of 14. I've gone from every call out, first call out every show, front, middle, to no call out.
Yeah.
I'm like, last call out, dude.
Yeah.
That is not fun.
No, it's not.
When people are in the crowd there to watch you at the bottom of the pack, I said I'll never do that again. I'll never be in that position again. You know, and if I don't come out of that position the following year, which I did, but if I didn't, I'm out. You know, like, I think you do have to have realistic goals, you know, and that's what I had for myself as an Addy too. I wanted to prove to myself I could get to a certain position and look naturally.
Yeah.
To understand that. And then obviously when I've been on the gear over the years, I always had small goals that I have to accomplish, because if I don't, I just clearly don't have it.
Yeah, and also...
So I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think that for you personally, you going to the dark side just accelerated your success as a bodybuilder. You know what I mean? It allowed you to take things to the next level, and you are like known as you're like who you are, a pro, IFBB pro, because you did that, right?
You know what's funny, dude? Becoming an IFBB pro did not actually make my business skyrocket in that way. Mm-hmm. That's what people didn't understand. They go, oh, you make all this money because, you know, you're a pro. It doesn't fucking mean shit.
Yeah.
You know, you probably make more than what I do, and you're natural. You never touch the shit. It's about how much hard work you put into your marketing, your image, you know, and your branding, you know, on social media, in person, you know, when you're walking around and whatever, keeping that reputation, because it takes 30 years to build a reputation, 30 seconds to fucking ruin it.
So true.
You know, dude, so, you know, people think that, you know, just because, you know, I'm taking roids now and all that shit, that I'm a pro now. It's like, dude, I've done 2 pro shows.
Yeah.
One I got 12th, one I got 7th. I'm a nobody. I'm a bottom feeder. It doesn't mean shit. If anything,
that's not true though.
Yeah, but, you know.
And look at Ronnie Coleman as well. He came like, you know, dead.
Well, he was actually getting dead last, so I've still got some home.
Exactly.
But, you know, when I look at it as a whole, people tend to jump to that.
Yeah.
You know, they think, oh, yeah, no, it's just, you know, because you're a pro and this and that. I've seen so many pros go through World Gym and try and work there, and they failed miserably.
I've seen the same thing with other federations. They think because they're pros in those federations, they're just going to become busy. Personal training's so easy.
No one gives a shit.
It's not, man. It's not. Because those people care more about themselves than their clients.
Correct.
They care about how they look.
And dude, how frustrating is that you're sitting there and you know, back when I was PTing heaps, and you kind of you're with your client and you kind of just stop and you listen and you can hear them talking. They're just talking about themselves and when they compete and I'm this and I'm that. I'm like, the client doesn't give a fuck about you. You're there to push them and educate them, you know, and if anything, if they want to talk about anything, it's themselves. Exactly. You're there for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't fucking talk about yourself.
You got to have the people skills, right? You got to learn how to communicate with people and, you know, how to build rapport with people as well. And you can't just talk about yourself the whole time. It doesn't make any sense. So
there's nothing worse than that. I get quite insecure when people say to me and they talk to me about this and that and ask me questions. I'm like, I don't want to talk about myself. Let's talk about. That's why I don't like really hanging out with bodybuilders, because they tend to just talk about themselves, and then it's like a competition on what you have to talk about versus what they do, and it's like, man, this is too much for me.
And that's what I mean. Like, I don't want to be identified as a bodybuilder. I want to be someone that has more elements to them. You know, it's like more dimensions to what they do, what they're about. That's why I did some powerlifting for a while, and I competed in that, and I did really well. I did some strongman. I do random stuff. Like I play beach volleyball. You know, I like to just mix things up a little bit. Don't just be like this one person.
You've always had the athletic side about you.
Yeah, I did. But you know what? I hate like going to a party and everyone's like, "You're a bodybuilder."
Yeah.
How much do you bench press? You know, that kind of shit.
How much do you lift? It's like, man.
Like we've been dealing with that for years. I bet when you were a security guard, you dealt with that all the time.
Dude, I remember people coming and say, "Dude, how much do you like? What do you eat?" I'm like, "Dude, I'll tell you." And they're like, "Oh, what do you eat?" And their mates would come over, and I'm like, "Dude, I go out and hunt and kill my food. I go and hunt it myself and I eat it raw and that's why." They go, "But do you take steroids?" I said, "Dude, I go and hunt and kill my food. I'm a security guard. I make $7.30 an hour.
Yeah,
there's no way I could afford steroids."
Yeah.
And they go, "Oh," and his mate goes, "See, bro, I told you." I'm like, what the fuck goes through your head? You're both. You know,
that's crazy. Hey, yeah, I've had a lot of people actually years ago be like, "What are you running?" When I'd be out in the nightclub, "What are you running? You're on something. What gear are you on? Blah, blah, blah." You know, all that shit. But, you know, end of the day, like your question, like when will I go dark side? Probably never, man. I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm 33 years old.
Not passionate enough for it.
I don't have to prove anything to anyone. And I've always thought to myself, if I ever did it, people would be like, "I knew he was on drugs." You know what I mean? If I ever said, you know what I mean? He was on it the whole time. He had to have been, or some shit like that. If I didn't have a shoulder injury from powerlifting, then I would probably be more capable of a lot of things. I'd be stronger overall. Then I'd be like, you know what? Maybe I'll do it.
Dude, look, I help people out and give them advice on gear and things like that. Yes, I do. I still advise them not to do it. Mm-hmm. If you're not looking to go down the path that I'm looking at, I don't really see the point. And I think that's the message you're trying to get across. You're not really in love with the whole IFBB pro scene and going down that whole path, which, you know, I respect. And I just don't really see the use unless it was for a health perspective and your levels were low.
Yeah.
Of course, you need some testosterone to live a normal life. But other than that, I know for myself too. That's why when people get so surprised, they go, they found out I just had 3 months off, completely no gear. I'm like, wasn't a big deal. But you said you lost like 15, 20 kilos. I'm like, so what?
Bro, you look really good.
You know, and if anything, actually, everyone says to me, "Oh man, you're looking so healthy." I'm like, "Is that a nice way of saying I look skinny?" But whatever. But
that's the bodybuilder's insecurity.
That's the insecurity side of it. But yeah, no, look, dude, like it's not a problem for me to come off. It's like when COVID came, there was no shows. I still just live the lifestyle. It comes back down to it, you know, applying bodybuilding as a lifestyle and taking those disciplines and applying them to everything else, like your successful business. Denver, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it very much, man.
Great to be here.
It's good having your energy around the gym.
We never get to do this kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
so I get to see you more often.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So it's good to have you on. You know, I'm going to hold you up for a train.
Yep.
I will be getting you on my YouTube.
Cool.
To show everyone that you are not using fake weights.
Yeah.
You will be one of them. We'll get a session in. I'll probably do something with shoulders because you'll probably have an injured shoulder still, I might just out-edge you.
Today, actually.
I might just out-edge you on some shoulders because I know you are stronger than me. So I'll strategically pick what we're going to do for that. But no, look, I appreciate you coming on, man. You know, you're very high up in the industry and everyone should know why you're up there. So just to finish, give us all your plugs, you know, all your socials, websites and everything so everyone knows where to find you.
Yeah, I mean, you can just look up my name on Instagram, Steyn _. And then on there, just click the link on that bio and it'll take you to anything you need to know about my coaching and what I offer. But it's physiqueformation.com.au. And on a side note, I actually created a new Instagram account probably like, 2 months ago or something like that. Because I did have a big one with a big following, but shit engagement, like really shit engagement. So I was like, what's the point of having all these followers? People treat you differently. People treat you differently when you have a lot of followers, man. Like I meet people, they're like, oh my God, like they treat you normal. Then they see your Instagram. Oh, why are you famous? Blah, 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 all this type of shit.
But isn't it funny how they call that famous just because you got heaps of followers?
Yeah, it's so dumb, man. So I was like, you know what? I want to be treated like a normal person. Don't think that I'm someone else just because people follow what I teach or whatever. Because most of those followers came from just posting my abs all the time years ago. And I've kind of moved away from that to more just like education, showing my clients results, stuff like that. So if anyone finds me on Instagram, they'll be like, oh, what? 2,000 followers? This guy's a nobody. But I turn the other account off.
But who's to know your true engagement compared to everyone else though?
Exactly. And also, I'm making more money now.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what's the real?
There's a lesson for everyone right there. You know, when you got an authentic following, you're going to be reaching out to the people you want to, and you're giving your time to the people that want to learn it, and they're the ones willing to pay. So
yeah, exactly.
Thanks again, man, cool, and thank you very much for being on the Asylum podcast. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we're out.
Awesome.